Hello, everyone. This is the Champs 5 post Champs RSPK analysis and 2023 changes to the Cube. I'm Davi, I'm the Cube creator. I was one of the TOs and streamers for the event, so I got to watch the entire, all of the 3 rounds and the draft to RSPK. I've been getting a lot of feedback. I really like how the Cube performed, how the drafts went, and how the winning and losing decks got constructed. So if you want to see the draft report, I'm gonna leave this link over here. The only really important slide for this one is gonna be the win percentage here. Of course, the elephant in the room for RSPK was Arcanine EX. Arcanine won the event in both pods, so we have the Arcanine tax list for Sebastian, kind of a more well-rounded Arcanine list with heavy hitters like Banette and Espeon, an acceleration option with Blaziken, and some tricky stuff with Absol-EX. So yeah, Sebastian did say that this was a primarily Arcanine deck, but from what he said, all of the cards had their moments to shine. Even Moltres EX, which like also went 6-0, but totally carried by Arcanine. It had its chance to shine. 60 damage, some pretty decent numbers, and the confusion with acceleration from Blaziken, you can get Moltres online pretty early, and then just switch out or point out. The other 6-0 deck, of course, the Arcadoon list by Willie. This is a just simple item lock support, stadium lock Arcanine. We saw it on stream. The games on stream were actually pretty close. He played against Bespal. All had some lucky starts, unlucky prizes, and just it was a weird matchup, but it wasn't as dominant for Arcanine as I thought it would be, so that was good. Eventually, we're gonna talk about what Arcanine's future is gonna look like. But I want to talk about the entire cube in action, all of the lists. So yeah, both trios are pretty good. Flyvies by JL, not the only Flyvies archetype. Of course, it's Flygon EX, Flygon Delta, and Evolutions. Since you can accelerate the EV Delta species with your Flygon Delta supply, and then you can start attacking pretty fast with your Evolution EXs. They have pretty good attacks generally. They can hit some weird weaknesses. This is JL's list. We see a 1-1-1 split of Flygons. The EVs here are Vaporeon and Umbreon, the two best ones for disruption. Both can gust some like Delcatty, some Metagross Deltas or Accelerators that want to sit on the bench, or you can just Evolutionary Swirl on Vaporeon, force your opponent to draw only 4 cards and like start attacking. 2 for 40 on Vaporeon, also really good. I really like this list. Only one boost is kind of sad, and only one Holomon. I guess there's 2 Holomons. Because you can do the cool combo with Flygon EX of do 1 attachment to 100 damage for 2 turns in a row. But it's fine. It's a pretty good deck. I really like the way it was constructed. It was probably a really hard draft. 2 admins, a pretty solid number. The Holland Engine only works if you have transceivers. You do have 3 mentors, so probably the consistency of the deck was good. Unfortunately, I didn't see any of the games for this deck, but a 1 Macargo, 1 Magneton, 1 Delcatty line here probably ran hot in the event, so really good list. Let's go to the other Flyvies list for Bespal. I'll play the kind of different list, more EVs with Flareon, Vaporeon, and Espeon. He played a Bellossom, which I really like. I think Bellossom was a big overperformer in this Champs Cube. I didn't really expect Blossom to be played in this many decks. It's kind of a check to ground on because you really can't be taking like 20 from the early turns and come back somehow. He used it really well. He was on the stream. His game was really close. I really like how the deck is constructed. 2 boost energy and 3 Holland's Cast Form. I don't know if everyone was watching the stream when I said this, but A hot take of mine is that Flygon EX from Legend Maker is the best attacker in the cube. So only 2 Fly VZX. I think there was one with a tech Flygon maybe, but not a Flygon EX. Unfortunately, only went 1-2. I think the biggest reason for the 1-2 is the 2 EVs. So he only plays 2 EVs in 3 evolutions. He didn't get to draft the third EV. And the evolutions are so important. In his game, Flareon EX tanked really well against Arcanine, because Arcanine 30-20 on the bench with Overrun is really well mitigated by Flame Swirl. Not Flame Swirl, Flame something. Flame Screen on Flareon EX. And you can eventually heat tackle the Arcanine to death. And you also have Vaporeon, of course. Espeon also like just a great attack, just a great card, great attacker, great support card, amazing card. But he only has 2 EV, so he had to choose, and he priced 1 in one of the games, so it was really unfortunate for him. So we see the deck on 1-2, but I like to see when strong decks go 1-2 and strong players go 1-2, because it's not the cube's fault, it's not the drafter's fault, it's not like, it's probably just the luck of the game or matchup base, or it wasn't like the cube has failed all and Flygons have failed all. So go to the next archetype. It is Delta by Zach. Delta's a very popular archetype. Delta is just like the amalgamation of whatever you get, with probably Flygon as the main line, but sometimes Dragonite as well. We see sometimes Egg, but Egg is kind of a tech card instead of a main center line in this cube. Zach's deck is also really good. If you put Zach's deck and Best Ball Oz deck side by side, I'd say Oz deck is a bit better. I know it's a weird comparison, but I like to see when like a kind of weaker deck goes 2-1 and a kind of stronger deck goes 1-2. It's just like balancing. It's not a balance issue, is what I guess I mean. So yeah, Zach's deck. The only thing I really don't like about Zach's deck is the only 2 Hollandsmon with a lot of different attackers here. Even Lugia and Latios that uses a lot of different energies. I would really like to see more Hollandsmon to accelerate really easily too. Those I will. Zach probably lost against Sebastian. I'm not entirely sure. But this is a really strong deck. We're gonna talk a bit more about Flygon Delta and Dragonite Delta in the future. How these lines are gonna look for 2023. But I'm pretty happy with how the deck was constructed. Also, it wasn't a full Delta. I like how the Manectric line was used, the Aqua's Manectric line, to combo with Dragonite. Sometimes you can just move some random energies and attack with some unexpected attackers. Do you have another Delta deck? There's Delta Queen by Gil. We can kind of see he probably tried to go for Meta Knight, couldn't go because like someone took the other Dragonite Delta species, and only one Metagross. Metagross is a really hard card to use if you don't have a lot of acceleration. It's not a great attacker if you can't discard a lot of energy. It's a great draw engine, amazing. Delta Control is just an amazing Pokepower. The 2 Nidoqueens, great. The big problem with Nidoqueen in this cube is that the cards are so good, they often go their separate ways, like only 1/1 in each deck, or like 2 Nidoqueen in one deck, 1 Delta in one deck, 1 Delta in another deck. We see the 1/1 here. I can kind of see why this deck didn't get too far is the lack of acceleration, mostly. I don't think you can play these very big attackers that they need a lot of different energy. He does have 3 Double Rainbow and 3 Scramble, but the lack of acceleration here is probably too hard for Gil to try to go for anything. Yeah. So next archetype. What happened? What? Okay, this should not be happening. Okay. Next archetype. Metaqueen and Metaqueen. So we had 2 Metaqueens in the same pod, side by side actually. Maybe not exactly side by side, but they were either side by side in the draft or like 1 chair from each other, like Slight and Mysterious Player. both drafting Metagross and Nidoqueen. Kind of split the line pretty much in the middle. We see, not really. I guess like got the higher amount of both of them, but Mysterious Player has a lot of different techs. Slight, of course, was the featured drafter for the event on day one. So we watched this entire draft come together. He first picked Nidoqueen from Fire Red and Leaf Green. The card is amazing. Card is crazy. He then got a decently early, but also kind of fashionably late Metagross Delta. You don't really expect Metagross to go like to picks 5 and 6. I think he got maybe a 3 and 4. I don't remember. It was in a good position to take the Metagross, and then he kind of got the Super Connectivity Grosses pretty free. So this deck was decently hard to make. It's not an archetype, but what I also like about Cube is that you don't really need to follow the archetype. You can just do whatever and get some decent results. So Nidoqueen really good with with Double Rainbow and with Scramble Energy, and way better when you have an Accelerator and some Hollinsmon to fix the energies, attack whenever you need. Metagross just a crazy good line in the cube. We've seen on Slight's winner interview how he really likes Link Blast as an attack, not just the card as an acceleration option, but Link Blast just as a 2 for 70, sometimes 2 for 60 if you have Double Rainbow, and you can kind of fit the energies that you need, because of course Link Blast only does 70 if you have the same amount of energy than the defending Pokemon. So you can like attach a Double Rainbow and go to 3, or attach like a Scramble, go to a lot if your opponent has a lot, and then you can just retreat or briny it up and keep attacking for other attackers. We saw the Nidoqueen doing 100 damage with the bench full of evolutions. We saw how Milotic was crazy good against Omnipoke stack against Magma, cleaning the entire field of linear attacks, and then later cleaning like 120 damage from his board and 60 from the opponent. So very good value from Milotic. It was incredibly well played from Sly. I think it was the highlight match from the event for me. It was round 1, match 1, so very good way to start the day off. I like the Bayonet line here as well. It can hit like a truck when needed. I really like Metagross Delta in a deck like this with acceleration. We saw how it's not a great attacker in any point of the game except for the late game, because you can just one-shot something and just win the game if you need to, or you can like make a bit of a checkmate situation, one-shot something with Metagross and then have energy attachment plus super connectivity to attach to Bayonet and just take the last knockout, maybe with like a war point, or just the damage is enough to kill anything in the board. So Metagross Delta Species was crazy good in this deck. My favorite deck of the event, together with Sebastian's deck. I love when people like think outside the box and make new things, different things. So yeah, these two decks, Arcanine Tax and Metaqueen #1, super good. Mysterious Player went for kind of a more Delta focused version of Metaqueen. I think the problem here is only getting one acceleration card, no Flygons. The eggs are good. He also only has one Double Rainbow, no Scramble, so the eggs kind of lose a lot of value. Nidoqueen Delta Species is a massive card. Blossom, I think in this deck, Blossom makes a bit less sense. You really want Blossom with like the 120 big stuff like Nidoqueen. But still like a great card. Probably just attack for Magma. And yeah, this one is like considerably weaker than Slight's deck just because of the lack of acceleration, and how Metagross Delta just really can't get there without a lot of Excel options. So it's understandable why one went to 1 and one went to. Are those the only Delta Queen? I guess yeah. This is Delta. Other Queen doesn't really count. So yeah, those 4 decks were the ones that like got a passing grade. They went to day 2. So those are the best decks from pod 1. Metaqueen kind of failed here. Magma from Omnipoke. A very good way to build Magma, in my opinion. I think you need to be flexible in this cube to get Magma to work well. if you go for the Cessation Pure Groundon list, I don't think you get too far. Games in Cube are different than games in Constructed. You don't exactly get whatever you want whenever you need. So I really like how Omnipoke built this deck. I probably just don't love both Magcargo and Porygon 2 in the deck. I really just rather see one of them. Magcargo not great when you only have like one adventure and no TV reporter, so probably just the Porygon to survive admins from the opponent. 2 Briny really good. The one very weird thing I thought about this deck is only 2 Darkness Energy since they are 4 free. You could just play 4 and Grono is just a beast when you can like do 2 energy 30 on turn 2. And like Pulverize, you can get some numbers with the Special Dark. So and you can even like attach Special Dark to Clado to hit some weird weaknesses. So I really like this deck. It went 1-2. I don't exactly know why. On the first game, it was really hard for both players. It was Slight versus Omnipoke. So understandable why he lost the first one. He kind of didn't play around the Milotic, so Groudon kind of wasted too many turns to attack, and then when a Nidoqueen is online, there's not a lot you can do. A Nidoqueen one-shot a Groudon, which is 100 damage for a Nidoqueen is pretty hard to get there, but eventually you can get like 1 or 2 hits. And I really like this deck. Like, this deck is just really good. Probably just wanted to see the 4 Darkness. And yeah, probably that's it. There is another Magma, a passing Magma from Pod 2 from Tumas. There are quite a bit differences from this one to the other one. This one plays more the classic Magma, but does have the Cessation option. This one plays 4 Cessation and Curse Stone, so he really doesn't want to fill the board with like Magcargo and Porygon 2 Camerupt Clado. He only has a 2 Clado, which I do think you need to play. It's super strong in this deck. I don't think you can afford to not play this. But he does play the Curse Stones, which is interesting to see. How the 2 are in the same deck. You gotta play very smart to not kill yourself if you're on Curse Stone. He has 1 less Briny, which is a really important card in the archetype. When you can move energy from Clado to Groudon from one Groudon to another, or from one Groudon to the Zangoose and pick one up. Yeah, he does play the 4 special, 3 Magma Energy, 3 Magma Ball. No, yeah, he plays Maxi too. This is actually very good. I would be interested to talk to Tumas later and see how the matchups went, because I do know that eventually against Light, Groudon with the second Cessation Crystal it got like 4 or 5 turns from linear attack. So probably what happened with Tumas here was the same thing. He had just more access, easier access to Cessation Crystal. If one gets Windstorm, you just put the other one and keep attacking. You never look back. You just keep going. So yeah, very good to see 1 Magma 1-2 and 1-2-1, because like if both go 2-1, maybe the Dark type is too strong. And I like to see both balancing each other out, and different lists as well. I just like to see different things in Cube. So the last deck for Pod 1 is Lightning Box from Fruju. He got a Dragonite Delta and probably drafted around it with a lot of lightning attackers. I like the deck. I think it has potential. It's just a bit unfocused, maybe. I don't know exactly where the problem lies. There's a lot of like 1-2, 1-1, 1-1, 2-1-1, Dragonite, 1-1-1. Probably not consistent enough. Like maybe if you play 2-2-1, it's a bit better. If you play like 2 of your basics for your very important evolutions, probably goes better for you. I really like the Rayquaza in this deck. Being able to one-shot stuff is really useful. Like when someone, I don't know, if the Magma deck has only 1 Groudon ready, only 3 energy on the Groudon, you just like one-shot it and make them have to rebuild while it's easier for you to rebuild with Dragonite. I like this archetype, but I'm cutting a few of the cards from this archetype in the future, so we'll have to see if this kind of deck survives. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Wait, is that a deck missing from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? I guess there's a deck missing. This is Mike, I think. it's Mike. Yeah, Mike played a Swampert deck. I could probably find that out, but we'll talk about Swampert and I do remember Mike's deck decently, so let me just check if Mike's deck is in here. No, it's not. But okay, I do remember Mike's deck, so that's fine. Pod 2, Arcanine, we talked about Arcanine, crazy. Blaziken, love Blaziken. It was the one of the starter lines in the cube, because this cube is from like July 2020, and then we're like at the end of 2022. It took Blaziken almost an entire year to like get a positive result, so I'm really happy to see the line like flourishing. Oh, I don't know how to say the word. Sorry. It has the aqua thing here. It has Latias Star, which I really like the attack attackers in Blaziken. Only has 1 EX. Interesting. I don't know if that was kind of hate drafted from him or he chose to play only 1. 2 cats is really good. It's really hard to draft them, so really interesting he got to draft him. Warp Energy super good in this archetype. Crystal Shard also very good to like if you need to kill a Flygon. Yeah, I just love Blaziken. He has a lot of good cards in this deck, like 3 Adamant, 3 Transceiver. Latias Star is not an easy thing to pick up, so 2 Dokkaeris as well, of course. There's the only Blaziken besides the 2-1 line in Sebastian's deck. So Blaziken going 5-1 is very good. I'm very happy that Blaziken is taking its rightful place back as a premier accelerating and just aggressive line. So yeah, good. Swampert from Mountain Carl. So Mike also played Swampert. I didn't get his list. It was my bad. I need to update the site with it. I know that we see here a more balanced, I guess, version of Swampert. Has access to only 1 accelerating one, which kind of sucks. Has access to Nidoqueen, so good consistency if he gets the Nidoqueen early. Bellossom, a card I really like in Swampert, 150 HP, only 1 weakness, and it's kind of one of the weaker types in the cube, at least in this specific run. So you can just heal around, and eventually you switch into something else and keep healing it. He has access to Lugia EX, which I really like, with only 2 Hollandsman. I think it's fine if you only have 1 attacker. Jirachi also decent with the Hollandsman if you need to attack Psychic Weakmon. 2 Magneton I really like in this deck because when you can really accelerate your energy, I guess one Swampert is too few, but 1 too few. Attacking with Magnetic Force is really good. You can just set up the numbers and hit some very strong weaknesses. So the difference between this deck and Mike's deck is Mike tried to go for a more 2004 version of Swampert without like tech attackers like Lugia EX, and I don't think you can really get too far without playing stuff like what Zach played, which is where's Zach's? Zach was right below, right? I don't know where's. Okay, here. Just like accelerating lines with good, decent options to attack whatever you need, whenever you need. So like, if you see an Arcanine, what do you do? Can you accelerate into Lugia and kill it right away? Eventually you can attack with this, with that, if you need to. So I think this deck is well balanced. Very good from Adam Carl, who got 4th overall. 2-1 both days, so very good finish, very strong finish from Adam Carl. I think that's pretty much. Oh yeah, there are these 2 decks. These 2 decks, they have a lot of cards I'm taking out of the cube. So we have the Dark deck, which is kind of drag trolled without a lot of drag and a bit of trolled, with a very thick, by this cube standards, Dark Ampharos line. And then we have T-Tart Tex, a decently thick, what's the name of this thing? Tyranitar. And a Cacturne, the only Cacturne played in the event. It went to 03, so not a very good look for Cacturne. And a few different decks. Yeah, I those decks, they kind of missed the mark. I think one more. Both Dratini and Dragonite in this deck is really good if you take out these and make the deck just more consistent and have more techs. In this one, if you pick these cards, like these 3 cards, and put it here, and put like 2 more ATM rocks, I think this deck is very good as well. but they kind of missed the mark. And F for Sun and Moon Energy as well. Okay. And with that said, so 25 minutes. I'll have to kind of run through this one. Yeah, let's go to the cube. As it was for Champs 5, I'll have the Champs 5 edition of the cube forever saved, if we need to understand how this will be played in the future. So, the cube, how it was and how it will become shortly. This is the 2023 update. There's a lot of lines that weren't played or either at all or to any success. So like Cacturn didn't get any wins. Gorbis wasn't played at all, which probably it's one of the biggest factors of Arcanine just getting there. Let's see. Well, Lantern kind of was not played to good results. The Rock Lock cards were very bad in this cube. So these are some of the cards that will be taken out of the cube for the Champs 5 edition. And then we're going to transition into the 2023 update. I want to go over some of the changes to this cube. There are a lot of reasons to like make small changes and trying to see how the cube stays and what the meta becomes from this cube specifically. But we had a Cube League and then a Champs Cube, so I don't think we're even gonna play RSPK a lot in 2023. So I wanted to change a lot of lines and kind of spice up the cube a bit. I guess the two biggest changes here are the addition of Ludicolo from Deoxys and the re-addition of Meganium. For the old school people here, Meganium won the first RSPK Cube League, I think it was July 2020. And then I removed it because like the deck did everything. It had access to everything. Like it's very good defensive. It's very good aggressive. Has access to very good acceleration and healing. Some powerful attacks. Meganium Delta was super underrated when I added it to the cube. And then Zach won that league with using Meganium Delta a lot. So congrats to him. So Meganium gets back in the cube. I had to like... the reason for Meganium to be re-added was the same one for Ludicolo, because I am looking at the Champs edition, seeing a lot of these stage 1s that don't really matter, and I'm like, I've gone through most stage 1s for RSPK, and remember, I can't use just any card, they have to be between RS and PK, so, like, I tried to, the stage 1 line for water is really bad, it's just never gotten anywhere in this cube. So eventually I really wanted to force Gorbis to stay on the cube, at least this one. I don't really mind the react ones going away, but this one I think this card is just very good. But there's also a problem with cubes. It's like, do you really want to keep your pet cards in forever, or do you want to actually like put things that people play? Like obviously nobody wants to play Gorbis, nobody really wants to play Cacturn. So just put better stuff in, and I mean surely people will play Ludicolo and Meganium. Those lines are super popular, super strong. I chose not to put the Healing Steps Ludicolo. I think that one is kind of a bit too much. That was a card Ludicargo played as a tech against Rocklock back then. And it's kind of a bad attacker. It's kind of... There's a lot of healing in here. I don't want to like go overboard with healing. There's already this Meganium that heals all of the Pokemon in play, excluding EXs between turns. So depending on what you be able to do, you can like undo some overruns, some shady moves, some zaps. If you get a lot of switches, or even a Fluffy Berry in this thing is kind of useful when you promote after you get knocked out. Kind of a cute attack. I like only 2 of these 2s, and I mean, it's 1 card. And talking about 1 cards, I removed 2 cards that were 1-offs in the old version. It was a Crobat from Hidden Legends. I like this card. I like this card a lot. I really like Triple Poison, how I can deal with big EXs, except for Arcanine, of course, because it somehow heals special conditions, but I like how it can be accelerated with Double Rainbow and a Scramble. Troll Poison, an amazing attack. Flutter Trick, kind of a feels bad one, but this card was never used by anyone, so I felt safe removing it. It's another one of like, this is one of my pet cards, and like, if people are not using, I'm not gonna force them to. I'm just gonna make another cube and force them to use it there, so it's easier to do. And the other card I removed for being too tacky, too cute, was the Power Keeper's Flygon. I didn't have a specific reason to remove this. It was just when I was rethinking this update, I wanted to put at least 3 of every acceleration card, except for Meganium EX, because Jesus Christ, I know. So Flygon Delta once had 3 accelerators, and sometimes that would create 3 different Delta decks in the same pod. And that was something I didn't like back then, but as more time went on, I'm like, I'm fine with people playing Delta stuff. So Flygons, I got back into 3, because there are 3 of every accelerator, and Dragonites also got back to 3. Once the cube had 3 Metagross Delta and Meta Knight, which is like the best archetype by far. So I cut both them down to 2. But the more that people play this cube, the more that they stray away from like the normal archetypes, and the more that they create and have more interesting decks. So I wanted to put more accelerators, just because like having one accelerator kind of sucks, and we saw a lot of one acceleration decks in champs that I don't really want to repeat in the future. Big elephant in the room, what to do with Arcanine. I just reduced it to a 2-3, a 3-2, I guess. So, oh my god, it's $170. Jesus. So the thing with Arcanine is that there are not very good stage 1s attackers in RSPK. We have like a lot of actual stage 1s here, but they are mostly stuff you want to put on the bench, or the power level is way too weak, like Camerupt. Camerupt's like really good in like a low power cube, but here it's a terrible attacker. I had the Unseen Forces Macargo in this cube for like almost a year, I think, and nobody played it. Literally nobody played it, so I can't put that one. Camerupt EX is a joke. Flareon EX, like, it's not a fire card, so there's not a lot I can do with fire. What I ended up liking is we have a lot of like tacky fire attackers, and like all of these ones can use Double Rainbow and Scramble to like attack out of nowhere. And we have this one, which we've seen other stage 1 rush archetypes in the past, like teching a 2-3 Arcanine line. So I think this is fine. It's like less consistent, harder to draft. You have to make a deck around it. So I don't know, Willie's deck and Ben's deck that he played on the Flash Cube before Gems, they were super strong, super consistent, and kind of boring to draft and to watch. So those are the kinds of decks I don't love. And Sebastian's deck is the kind of deck I really like in the cube. It's like a mixture of the best of attackers and an acceleration engine. So I think that deck can still continue existing. And if it 3-0s, it 3-0s. Like Arcanine is good. There's nothing I can do about it, except like remove, but I'm not removing it. Arcanine also didn't play against a lot of the bad matchups. Like nobody used a Mew Star. Nobody used a Latias Star. Nobody used Lugia EX. There's a lot of ways to copy it. Copy like an attack, like with not just Mew Star, but normal Delta Mew. Can copy a Flame Swirl. So if you damaged it in the past, you just one-shot it. He only played against one Vaporeon, and it wasn't kind of like not a jank deck, but a bit of a jank deck. So yeah, Arcanine staying until morale improves. Other changes were, I removed a lot of like some stage 1 lines that were not doing a lot. So Fearow got removed, Lantern got removed, and one more if I'm not mistaken. No, I think those are it. Of course, Tyranitar and Ampharos. The Rock Lock line is gone, so ATM Rock is also gone. Instead, I am putting in Protective Orbs because I don't like weakness prevention like this to play around weakness and resistance. I like actually playing different lines in your deck, but sometimes decks don't have a choice. Like if you're playing Ludicolo, you don't really have a choice. You have to attack with your Ludicolo into like their obvious, I don't know, Dark Electrode that's gonna kill you right back, or like the Magma Manectric, sorry. And there's a lot of lightning stuff here in the cube, so for a deck like Ludicolo, or even like something like Metagrosses, Nidoqueens, like sure. And with more Macargos, it's easier to get into your Protective Orb when needed. Also, it's only to non-EX evolutions, so like non-EX evolutions are the blood of this cube. So any way to make them a bit better is fine by me. I have one more Battle Frontier. The other very important card I added back is Pidgeot, but I had added that back before, but then RSPK got chosen to champs, and I don't think this card is very balanced, but I do think it's very fun. So for like flash cubes or quick events, or like one pot events that don't really have like cash prizes or even cube points, maybe for cube points I don't mind as well, but I just think RSPK is wrong without at least one Pidgeot. I didn't like when it had like a lot of Pidgeots, so every deck had access to one. Having one Pidgeot is funny. I really like it. You can like hate draft if you're playing like Magma and open it, or if you're like playing something else and open the Pidgeot, you're just like, oh sure, guess I'm playing a Pidgeot now. Other changes. There was one card I wanted to add. I'm gonna add it right away. Actually, it is a Sudowoodo from Unseen Forces. I want to add that in. I want to have a lot of copy attackers as options for the Stage 2 with acceleration decks. I don't know what I'm gonna take out for now. I'm just gonna take out like a Dunsparce for now, and then I'll see exactly. Maybe that's gonna just be fine, but sure. So I have Sudowoodo, Mew, and Mewstar as 3 different types of like copy attackers. Any of the Stage 2s that accelerate energy are super happy to have either of them to hit some weird weaknesses. So those are just good attackers to have in the cube. If you see here, there's not a lot of fighting Pokemon. There's not a lot of dark Pokemon. This cube is weird the way it's like the way the Cube Koga makes it. You can really choose where lines will go. Where lines are. So this line is both Lightning, Meadow, and Psychic. This line is both like Lightning, Meadow, and Dark. Nidoqueen is primarily fighting with a bit of grass, question mark, and a bit of metal. Swampert EX also fighting type. Meganium Delta also fighting type. We have a lot of secret attackers in other lines. So like there's not a lot of dark except for like Dark Dragonite and Aqua's Manectric, Magma's Clado, Magma Groudon, so and Umbreon EX. It's a like if you look at this and be like, oh my god, where's the dark attackers? They're here. Just calm down. They're here. I think that's pretty much it. I didn't change a lot of other things. I added an extra Battle Frontier because this thing is Mac. I want to see how the Ludicolo and Meganium lines work. I think the cube is in a really good spot. I think Arcanine is like strong, probably like baseline the strongest card in the cube, other than like Pidgeot probably. But I want to see how people play around it and play with it now, only as a 2-3 line. We've seen a lot of other Stage 1 attackers go out. So like Hariyama went on a 2-1 streak with Ben before Champs. So, and it didn't see play, but I'm not worried at all about Hariyama. I think the line's in a good spot. So let me know what you thought about this video. I wanted to make a quick video, but went kind of too late, and my throat is killing me already. So this is RSPK 2023, and I'll see you guys in the next one.